episode 20 of Dependency, where every life is a biography.
According to the United Nations minimum standard rules for the treatment of prisoners, every remanded or untried prisoner is innocent until proven guilty, with an enshrined right to a speedy trial. This Sunday on on Dependency, we are giving a voice to the voiceless, the families of men and women on remand. They have questions.
My father, who is very ill, is in remand for 4 years and counting. My mother and I are searching for answers.
Two of my sons are in remand for the past 5 years with no end in sight. As their mother, I need closure.
My father has been on remand for the past 16 years. My family just need answers.
The systematic and individual burden on remanded prisoners can be reduced if proper charges are laid and their matters are heard in a timely manner. This would also reduce overcrowding, corruption, and other ills within the prisons. Joining us by phone to discuss will be Professor Rosemarie Belle Antoine, Dean of Law at the University of the West Indies. Let's talk about it on on Dependency this Sunday from 6:15 p.m. Listen live on I-95.5 FM and watch live on the on Dependency Facebook page or YouTube channel. Don't miss it.
This is on Dependency with Garth and Natasha, Sundays at 6:15 p.m. on the most influential name in radio, I-95.5 FM.
In Trinidad and Tobago, inordinate trial delays coupled with frustratingly immobile criminal justice system have caused numerous individuals to remain remanded in custody for 5 to 10 years, and in some instances, upwards of 15 years. Quite surprisingly, few scholars in Trinidad and Tobago have focused their research attention on the pervasive issue of remand incarceration, which the authors of this article is akin to punishment without trial and the criminalization of the presumption of innocence. These articles fill an existing void by examining pre-trial detention on the island.
The study was conducted from a rights-based, socio-legal, sustainable development, and small-state multidisciplinary perspective, and utilizes quantitative data obtained from the Statistical Department of the Trinidad and Tobago Prison Service. The results indicate that male inmates spend an average 4 to 10 years and females 2 to 4 years on remand due to the state's inability or inefficiency in bringing these presumably innocent individuals to trial. In sum, this article highlights problems at remand facilities, remand trends, and reasons for the concerns with remanded inmates.
Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago, and welcome to Independency. And this is an excerpt taken from Remanded in Custody and Punished Without Trial, the Criminal Justice System and Remand Populations in Trinidad and Tobago, which was compiled by Mr. Dr. Wendell C. Wallace, Mr. Burton Hill, and Anthony R. Rosales. Now, we will be taking excerpts from this as we go along. As a matter of fact, we plan to do an entire program on this book. But because it's this Pardon?
It's research.
This research, yes, this is what you call empirical data collected by these goodly gentlemen, and this requires an entirely different program. But this evening, we will, of course, hook up with Mr. Wallace for a brief bit, and just to introduce this book, and then, of course, we will be speaking with Ms. Rosemary Belle Antoine. However, the important thing this evening, folks, are some members of families who feel aggrieved. Now, after one call, two calls, you know how to let people know, look, yes, we focus on the justice system as well, but more drug-related issues. But then we got 10 calls. And we decided, no, we have to be then the voice for the voiceless now. To the members of the judiciary, this program is not an affront on you at all. We don't know what the issue is. So we cannot sit here and pronounce on the judiciary and its, the way justice is dispensed with in Trinidad and Tobago. We try many times, but I remember my mother, she wanted some answers. And when I stood before Magistrate Enrique, he sentenced me to 1 year in prison. On the pleading of my mother, because she felt that was the only way to lick my drug problem. We didn't have a drug treatment facility in the prison then. And what my mother didn't cater for was I would leave prison with a conviction, which I would have to walk around with for a number of years before I got a presidential pardon. Same with these families. The longer you stay in prison, is the deeper you get lost into the system, away from society. And to regain one's footing after release from prison, from remand, once one has served his time, his or her time, the person has another challenge, which is to regain their life, regain their footing with a clean record, which does not come easy in Trinidad and Tobago. So this evening we will hear from a few families who just wants to make a plea and they just want some answers. Yes, Natasha?
Yes, to add to that, to add to the stain of a prison record, it's it's more injurious to me to have spent time in prison for a charge of which you are presumed innocent or you're not guilty, and have to explain that to people when you come out, if you come out at all, because we have heard stories about people who have been on remand for a decade and more.
Which you will hear this evening.
Which is absolutely untenable. I think, and it is a complex problem, but one that it seems the persons who have the power and authority to change it and haven't been willing to do so. And it is really destroying families across Trinidad and Tobago. And as Garth said, we are going to speak with some of the relatives of persons who have been held without trial for years.
And we have to make haste this evening, unfortunately, because of the announcement of the new measures. We have to make sure that Kerr gets home in decent time. Kerr is heading to South afterwards, so we'll be done by 7:30 this evening. And I hope you all understand. This is the exigencies of the service sometimes, but we must adhere to the regulations. And until things are sorted out, that when we leave here after this week, then everybody will be all right with that authorization to be on the road if 9 o'clock catches us on the road. So let's get into it one time. As I said to the judiciary, this is just for you to listen. And I ask you to listen this evening, know that you're in the same position as everybody else in Trinidad and Tobago. Life funny, yeah? But we all prisoners once again. I want you to listen this evening to mothers and sisters speaking. Daughters speaking. I want you to listen as a father, as a mother this evening. That's all we ask you to do. And see if you could feel some of their pain so that when we get rolling again, we could catch up a bit We'll also hear from a lady as far as St. Vincent, because her son has been in Trinidad and Tobago for 8 years. Did not go to court once, and this is for drugs. So you see where we at. I want you to think as a mother, if your child gets arrested, what would you like to see happen for them? Not appealing to your legal heart this evening or your legal mind this evening, but your heart as a parent. That's all we ask. So let's go to the first person. Ready, Natasha? Let's go to the first person who we have on the line, and she will tell us about her father. Hello, good evening.
Good afternoon.
Is right. Are you hearing us?
Yes.
Right. Tell us, what would you like to say to the judiciary this evening? What would you like to find out?
So, well, a little background is that, my dad has been in prison on remand for 4 years now. His last court date was on the 20th of November of 2019. And at that date, the magistrate sent the case to the High Court based on circumstantial evidence. So since then, we've been writing to the DPP's office. We've been calling, finding out if, when the case would be tried in the High Court or if it even has been filed to the DPP office to go towards the High Court. And we have not been getting any responses as to when the case will be tried. And my father, he is ill and in prison. The conditions is not conducive for his health. His health is rapidly deteriorating. And we'd just like to know, what is the status of his matter? Like, where is it? Where is his file? Is his case filed? Or, what is the status of it? So, yeah, that's basically it.
All right. Well, and how long you said he's been in there?
He's been in there for 4 years now.
4 years. And how is your mom doing?
She isn't in good health either. My father was the sole breadwinner, so it's been very tough on our family. And, she's just trying to hold it together, but it is be hard.
All right, my dear. Well, I know that they're listening, and let's hope we will hear something in the very, 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 very near future with regard to can you tell us his name though?
Yeah, his name is Noel Gao.
Noel what? Sorry?
Gao.
Can you spell
Can you
that
spell the
first?
last name?
G-O-W.
Oh, God.
G-O-W.
Okay.
Okay. Noel Gao. Okay, my dear. Thank you very much, and we hope you get some answers.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care. Right. So that was Varlene speaking on behalf of her father, and they just want to know what's going on with their relative.
It's still it's very difficult to listen to these things because your father being on remand without appearing before a magistrate or a judge for 4 years, knowing that he's in poor health and not getting any answers is torture, really.
All right. So good,
Because
Shantel.
it's torture, really, because you have no sense of when he's going to come out. It's an indefinite sort of detention, and that violates every human right there is.
Think as a mother, how that feels. Think as a wife, how that feels, and what it does to our family. It splits our family apart. And this is not something that we're begging for. It's a right of any citizen, and we know the conditions on remand. We freeing it up would help, because think about the officers now, who now have to commit themselves in more ways than one. We talk about that. We have Shantel now, right? So let's. Hi, Shantel.
Chantal,
Hi, good day.
Good evening. Tell us, what would you like to say to the judiciary?
My name is Chantel Shule. My father have been in prison for the past 12 years. He left me at the age of 7 and my brother at the age of 4. Every time he keep going to court, they keep canceling his case. And we are looking for answers.
How long has he been in there now?
12 years.
12 years, right. Sorry. I was distracted here. Right. So, and you, how often has he been to court?
Like, for the past year, like a year and 5 months now, they keep carrying him to court. And every time he go, the case they keep putting it off.
Any reason?
No reason.
So,
What about the charges were laid by a police officer, or did they go up
Yes,
to...
it was made by a police officer. He is no longer a police.
What?
He is no longer a police officer.
oh, so your father was a police officer?
No.
No, my
Or the
father
guy
is
who
a
arrested
police
him?
officer. Yes,
Okay.
the person who charged him is no longer a police officer.
Really?
They haven't reassigned the matter to another officer?
No, they have not.
So then,
What? Oh my God.
after 12 years, how long ago he died?
No,
No, she didn't die. No, the police officer who
No, the police
arrested and
officer, he
charged.
is not dead. He is still alive, but
He's
he is
no
no longer a
longer
police
in the
Being
officer.
sarcastic, Natasha. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Right. Sorry,
I didn't
yes.
catch that.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, that went over both your heads. Right.
Yep.
So he's alive, and
Yes, he is no longer a police
yeah,
officer.
I know he's no longer a police officer. So what happens next?
We don't know. We are still looking for answers.
That's kind of
That is-
weird.
That is not weird. That is crazy because the person who charged him and has him in prison right now is no longer a police officer. Have you taken the matter to any other authority, the police complaints authority or anyone else?
No, we did not.
This is
Because the case cannot proceed if there's no prosecutor.
and how long ago now?
12 years.
No, I'm talking about he's out of the service.
You know how long he's out of the service
I am
now?
not sure. I am not sure.
So how you found this out?
Because of my father, I speak to him. My
Okay.
father, yeah.
And
Wow.
this one, I think this one needs to even be pushed really further up the ladder, because if
12
the
years?
police officer is no longer serving and he is
Why
in
hasn't
prison,
the case been dismissed or...
so then makes no sense.
Wow.
My
So
dear-
how are you and your family?
Yeah.
How have you and your family been coping through this?
We are good. I am good. My brother is good. My brother is 16 years old now. My father left since he was 4 years old. And I think like something needs to be done because he need a father figure around at this age with the way how things going with young fellas.
Yes.
And my father leaves me in primary school and I am now 19 years old. I finished school last year with 5 passes. I even repeated a form. I repeated form 3 to see if the process, like if something will be done about it and the case will start and my father will come out in time for me when it is going to finish school, and nothing happened. Nothing. I spent 6 years in secondary school at Bishop St. Henry College and nothing happened.
So despite that challenge, you still managed to hold it down and get your
I still focused. I came out with my passes and I did well.
Congratulations, Shantel.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. And please try and keep your brother focused as well,
Will do.
please, because you don't want to lose another brother to the system, right?
No.
Another relative, sorry, to the system, and it's your only brother.
Yes. It's only me and my brother. And a lot happened since my father has been in there. He lost his mom and his dad while he was in there.
Oh.
He lost his house. Our house burnt down.
Wow.
He lost his nephew, his mother, his father. A lot went on since he been in there.
And of course, that is a whole person there. That's 12 years you're talking about. That's half a lifetime, really.
Yeah. Chantal, my dear,
Yeah.
God bless you. Stay strong.
Okay. Thank you very much.
And I hope the judiciary listens to your appeal.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care, right?
You too.
All right. Right. So let's go to Angela now. You see, again, and folks, we're not discussing innocent or guilt here, right? Remember that.
But they are,
we're
once you are
not
on
trying any
remand, you
case.
are presumed innocent until
Yes,
proven otherwise. These
that's right.
persons have not been to a court to determine their innocence or
Angela?
guilt, so we must assume they're innocent. Hi, good evening.
Good evening, Angela.
Yes, good afternoon.
How are you?
Well, I'm striving.
All right. Tell us, what would you like to say to the judiciary?
What I would like to say is to the judiciary is that what is the reason for not doing the matter of Kevin Patrick? He has been from court to court and from judge to judge. There was a time when his notes or his file could not be found. And for this reason, we don't know who to go to. At one time, we sent letters to the DPP, we sent letters to the Prime Minister then, and the then Prime Minister, and to date, nothing has been done. The case had been separated because he was charged with someone else, and to every time they are not ready, and they prolonging the matter from time to time. And when asked about why the case is not starting, sometimes the lawyers are not ready, sometimes the prosecutor is not ready, sometimes because he's going from one judge to another, the judge is not ready to start the matter, and things go over and over and over. Sometimes they don't bring him to court. And this has been going on for 10 years. He's 19 years inside the prison. His son, on the other hand, he has not been able to have a father figure in his life because of that. And my son used to play football, and this child's desire is to play football in order to satisfy his father. He dropped out of school, and today he doesn't have a job. The situation is where he's not playing football anymore because of the COVID-19 and what have you. And therefore, it's really stressful. And we want to know, well, what is taking place. Sometimes you talk to the lawyers tell you that they are not a morning person, and therefore call them sometime later. When you call them sometime later, you're not getting on to them, and so on and so on. It's really heartbreaking.
The lawyer said they're not morning person, so call them in the afternoon.
Wow.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, so the lawyer told you what? That he's not a morning person?
Not a morning person. So when I call in the morning time, he's unable to answer me in the morning because he's not a morning person. And sometimes when you call him during the day, you're not getting on to him.
There's a lawyer that you paying?
We paid some money to the lawyer, and when we paid that money, because we didn't have any money to pay, well, he asked us to admit him as a legal aid lawyer.
So when you pay him any, excuse me, when you pay him in the morning or afternoon?
I can't remember now, I can't remember. His father died along the way.
No, I'm just being facetious here, because when they have to collect money, it don't matter what time, but he's not a morning person, and
Exactly.
I do understand it. And I see there's another side of the system that's plaguing families.
Mm-hmm.
The legal representation. And I mean, the longer it goes on, is better for them too, especially if you have them on retainer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And again, how long has he been in?
19 years. We have been paying lawyers from the magistrate's court right up to the high court.
19 years.
So I am asking, well, what's next? What next? There is nobody who you could go to talk to. You can't tell who to talk to because nobody's telling you who to speak to. You don't know the system. Sometimes they dodge you around the system and you don't know what to do next.
Again,
Beg your pardon?
No, I'm just saying, to the folks who listen who could make a difference. Think about yourself lost in a neighborhood and you're knocking door to door to door and you're going around in a circle and nobody will answer any door. How would you feel? Can we use our imagination here? We're supposed to be creative people. Can we listen to this lady and the others and feel something for them? Can we? I'm really sorry to hear, and you hear the pain in your heart. What would you like? Just any final word? Just say a final word to the judiciary again, please.
What I would like to see is that the matter be brought before the court and that they attend to the matter. It's 19 years now. It's a murder case. And I really hoping that something be done. I'm not a young person anymore. All my money said my house can't even finish because all the money keep spending on him. Sometimes when we go to the prison, the prices of the things there are so high. When you come out, you spend thousands of dollars, and in the next week or two, you have to go back in order to carry stuff. For the past year, when we have the COVID, I have not seen him, nor heard from him, nobody called him, nothing at all. So you don't know what to do. You don't know what he's eating. You don't know, you're right, you don't know.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yes, and
The
this
19
is not
years we're talking about here.
this is not fair to people. This is not fair. It's not right. It's not fair, and you should have had answers many years ago.
Thank you so much for pouring your heart out here this evening. We really do appreciate it. And all we can do is provide that platform so your voice can be heard. We thank you once again. We pray that someone listens so that you can get some justice finally, because you need to see your son one way or the other. Thanks again, and we'll stay in touch.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Take care.
Anybody out there feeling that? Or
I mean,
anybody out there feeling that? Anybody out there understand
what do you
what
tell
we're
these
talking about here?
mothers
What do you say to these mothers? Really?
and daughters?
And daughters. What do you say to them? What can we say? What you, society, what can you say to them?
All they want to hear is when their relative is coming out of jail,
Let's go to Racine. Racine, no?
Hi, good evening.
Hi, good night.
Hey, Racine, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good.
Well, glad to know you're good. What would you like to say to the judiciary this evening?
I have so much questions, so much to say, but tonight I'll keep it short. My main question is, my dad started the trial last year. It started good, everything was going good, and COVID happened. So my question tonight is, if COVID is to stay with us, God forbid, for the next 5 years, what is the answer? What can be done? Because so far I'm not seeing anything to put in place to end the trial.
Your father is Ricardo Stevenson.
Yes, he is.
How long has he been in prison now?
He has been incarcerated for over 15 years. My dad was arrested when I was only 12. I am turning 28 in July.
And the case had started, right?
Yes, the trial started last year and it stopped because of COVID. And so far they have not put anything in place to end the trial. It's just prolonging, and I really don't understand why.
How's your mom doing?
She is good.
And
She's
dad?
they're going down in age, and at this age they just want to be at peace. They want the son home, they want answers, they want so much.
And
I don't understand why it is like a trial. It's had to take so much years, to get an answer.
It shouldn't. It really shouldn't. And if they're having issues, to me, if you're having issues coming to a resolution in a trial, then you need to dismiss the matter, because clearly somebody is not somebody falling down on the walk.
And what about virtually? And did they decide to do anything virtually?
Huh. For the past, I want to be honest. Maybe last year, coming up to the end of the year, these results came up, but nothing has happened since.
Hmm.
Nothing has happened since. I mean, I just want to draw reference as look at the case in America with George Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
That trial started, it ended, no such years. They then came to a conclusion virtually. And this is my question. If COVID is to stay 5, 10, 15 years, what's going to happen? Do you keep prolonging the case? That makes no sense. That is unfair to our family and to everyone else who is going through the same thing.
Understood.
Correct.
Understood.
It is really unfair. My father is getting strong in age, and I don't know. I don't understand it. I really, really don't.
So one suggestion would be at least let's try something virtually and get it. I don't know how we don't know how
Get
it's
the
done,
ball moving.
but at least get the ball rolling again.
Let's do it virtually, or if not, put them on. I don't know if Trinidad has it, but they could put them on house arrest down here with the little,
Correct.
thingy on the foot, the
Correct.
monitor on the foot.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, something to just put people mind at ease.
Yes.
My heart ache for the lady who speak before you hear and how tired she is, how
Yes.
frustrated. Why people have to go through this? That is so unfair. That is
Yeah.
really unfair.
And I remember when your mom was really strong,
Yes,
going up there
yes.
to Golden Grove every Tuesday, I think, every Tuesday and
Every
Tuesday.
week, as a rule, she gets up early and she
Yeah.
goes there. She can't make no more.
I
She
can
can't make no
imagine.
more.
I can imagine. Yeah, that really tiring. That really, I can understand. Excuse me. I can understand how tiring that is mentally, emotionally, physically for a senior citizen. I would see people sitting in that waiting room of the prison service over the road many times, and it's really painful. And having been on either side of the corridor, meaning my mom visiting me in prison and I visiting people in prison, I know how it feels. Understand. So, my dear Racine, thank you very much once again for being there for your dad.
You're so welcome.
And say hello to mom and dad for us, granny and granddad for us.
I
And
will.
of course, Terrence and everybody else.
Yes, I will. I will.
All right. And let's hope God touches their heart. And
I hope so. I really, really hope so.
okay, my dear, you take care, right?
All right, bye. You
Bye-bye.
You too. Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Nice.
Someone else commented here, Diane Thomas, said her husband is waiting for a date also for the High Court. His name is Nathan Tenya. Diane, how long has he been on remand for this matter?
And those of you listening, I would like, if you have a similar situation, please send us a message to Independency on Facebook. Go to our inbox and leave us a message, name and number, we contact you, right? So we have Miss Samuel or got Donna?
Yes, Samuel.
Donna?
I think we have, yes.
We have Donna now?
Donna?
Yeah.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Donna. Thank you very much for taking our call. Now tell us about your two sons you have.
Yes, I do.
Tell us about that. How long are they on remand now? What would you like to say to the judiciary?
It's almost 5 years. First, my name is Donna Williams Joseph. I am the mother of Darwin Jason Williams and Corey Jane Simon. They have been in remand since 2016. And I am still waiting to hear what could come out of this, because one of my questions to the judiciary is, why are we calling people investigators when they are not investigating? Shouldn't they have another name? Because my sons are there. They was told by someone that they had committed a crime, murder, when they were not in the vicinity of the place.
Donna?
Yeah.
Donna?
Yeah.
Yes. All right. No, that detail, as I said, that is presenting or presuming innocent or guilt, or we don't want to go down that road. We understand they're in there for a crime, right? We looking
Okay.
at yeah, because Natasha and I really don't want to be permanent announcers on Rise Maximum Radio.
All
So
right.
we just want you to stick to the basic, which is tell us the time they're in there, um, what what has happened since they've been in there, like correspondence, communication. What about that?
How has the matter progressed since they've
Yes,
been
how has the matter
Well,
progressed since they've
arrested?
been arrested yeah.
since 2017, they
Right,
had finished in low court.
right.
And after that, we are hearing nothing again concerning any matter, concerning the matter. And they are just behind bars, finding a way without us hearing anything. It's really unbearable. It's unbearable. It's hard to deal with. That's why, sorry, I had to lash out earlier on.
No, it's
I'm very sorry.
no, it's
No,
okay.
it's
It's
fine.
okay.
Like,
No,
we
it's just that
understand what
yeah,
you're going
you were
through.
discussing the issues of the case and the intricacies, and we didn't really want to bring that to the fore. That's not our role here, because
Yeah.
remember, this case is what you call now sub judice,
Sub
right?
judice,
Right. So
perhaps.
perhaps I think maybe the legal minds listening can guide me accordingly. But I just got a message, saying, "Good evening. The fact that the police officer has left the service or is dead has nothing to do with the trial going forward. The police
Okay.
officer is a witness in the matter. Another officer can be assigned to manage the case."
Well, clearly
Yeah.
nobody was.
Right. So that's just on the side there, and someone who's listening, who has impeccable knowledge of this issue, just sent that message. Right. So Donna, is we talking about two sons?
Mm-hmm.
Two
Yeah.
sons
My
here.
only two sons.
Your only two sons, and you would like the judiciary at least to understand that two sons away from a mother needs to be expedited as soon as possible.
Yeah.
How has it been coping? How have you been coping emotionally and
Emotionally,
mentally?
it's hard because I know my children, and I can't have them to hold them, to hug them, and knowing that they're behind there, I don't know what is going on. So I really need answers also.
All right, Donna. Any more questions, Donna?
No, I just, well, we commiserate with you, and we hope that whoever's listening can intervene on your behalf and on behalf of all the families that we've heard this evening. And we still have one to go, but keep the faith.
Will do.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Donna.
Okay, you're welcome.
All right. You take care. And by the time we do part two of this program, we should be able to
And
hear something. Hope.
Diane Thomas, who just said
Okay, Donna. Thanks. Bye bye.
her husband was waiting for a date. She says
Somebody else.
he's been in for a year and 5 months. And she also says that the ombudsman helps to move the case faster. So this might be an option for these ladies that we've spoken to. Try the office of the ombudsman and see if they can help. Someone, Malik, says, my son has been incarcerated for the past 8 years. Mahalia says, my husband has been in there since 2016. He was told it had gone to high court, never committed a crime. We married 23 years. His son's waiting to hear what is to become of their father. His name is Michael Myers.
Yeah, please send a message to our inbox and dependency inbox on Facebook and leave a number, please, so that we can contact you. All right. The final for this evening here is Miss Samuel. Miss Samuel is out in St. Vincent. Miss Samuel, good evening to you.
Hi, good evening.
Thank you very much for taking our call. Now, you have a concern. What would you like to say to our judiciary here in Trinidad and Tobago?
Okay, I have a brother that is there. He's been there for more than 8 years now. And up to this point, he hasn't had a chance to go to court to to hear whatever might be his sentence or anything. He has been there for that period of time, and I mean, with with his personally and in my experience and in comparison to the judicial system here in St. Vincent, I mean, in a case like that, with his case, I believe that something should have already been done by now. At least he should have been able to go to court by this time, at least to hear what is gonna happen to him, because he's uncertain and we are uncertain. I mean, I know him as a fisherman, and then he went off radar, should I say, for a while, and then like in 2 years after, we had to find out that he is there in Trinidad in prison. So I mean, he doesn't have any family there, and everybody that his entire family is in St. Vincent. But what I'm saying, my main concern is that by now, I believe that with a developed country such as Trinidad, in comparison to St. Vincent, we are not as developed as Trinidad. But so then that's what I'm saying. In a country like that, I believe that by now he should have been able to have his time in court, where he could have been able to say what was his story.
You know,
So
you
we
know
are
what she just,
uncertain as-
you know what she just said
Sorry.
there.
Yeah.
Sorry, my dear Miss Samuel, but you know what she just said there. There's somebody telling me or us, hey, I look up to you,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm really disappointed. I expected better from you,
Mm-hmm.
Miss Samuel.
But
Yeah, go ahead.
I am because as I said, in comparison to everybody is always hearing about Trinidad. And that's what people don't know about St. Vincent. But so then what I'm saying is by now, even if he didn't kill anybody, but if it's a murder case, by now he should have been able to have his time in court. So at least his family could be able to say, okay, this is where we can come in and chip in and assist, or this is what he needs to get done. But because we don't know what is happening with him, we are at a loss, and he's there for so long, and it is so frustrating. He has his family here, his kids here, and I don't know, being treated as a dog, should I say, in because he's not in from that country. I'm really concerned.
as you should be.
And then,
You should be.
but to add to it, and then now I'm understanding that you guys are in a state of emergency because of the COVID.
Yes.
I mean, what's gonna happen to him? What's gonna happen to him if God forbid, if that Brazilian strain reached to the prison and prisoners begin to be infected? What's gonna happen? Is the government gonna take responsibility for him if something happens to him? Because if they're not even looking in his direction to take him to court to at least hear what is going on with him, and if they have to charge him or what, are they even gonna pay attention to this COVID that is in the country now? That can be very troublesome if it reaches in the prison.
Yes, that is a very serious concern, and you're well within your rights to have those concerns, because many people here do have them as well. And your matter also raises the issue of foreign nationals who are on remand in Trinidad and Tobago prisons, and how they have access to legal representation to communication with their families. How is that done? Is that given priority? Are they given the necessary tools to defend themselves?
Exactly. I don't know. It is very. I know sometimes we cry because we miss him, and it is like if I know sometimes he might believe that we forget about him and he's there and nobody is paying attention to him, but it is not that. It is just that we can't do nothing until the government say, okay, this is what is the situation. You know, if they're gonna charge him, charge him. If they don't want, if they have him there, might make sense that they send him back to St. Vincent, and then he might just go to court here, and I don't know. That might be a better deal because we can't even take a fruit for him because he's there, and then with the borders being closed, there isn't even much we can do.
Yes. Once again, this is another installment of aggrieved and from an aggrieved family member of someone in our remand system here, you in St. Vincent. To remind the listener again, how long has he been here?
8 years.
About 11 years.
11 years. And he has not gone to court once.
He hasn't gone to court. They're telling him, they keep on telling him soon. Every time, it's soon. When it's soon, there should be a date by now. He should have already gone to court by now. Not ever. As I said, he didn't kill anybody, but even so, he should have already had his time in court to say his past.
Of course.
Samuel, we feel for you. The most we can say, we feel for you. We understand your disappointment in us as a country, and I hope the members of the judiciary are listening. So give us his name again.
Dwayne Samuel.
Dwayne Samuel in our system since 11 years ago.
Yeah.
He waiting on a high court date 10 years now. Thank you so much, my dear.
You're welcome.
And on the part 2, we will have a follow-up for you, all right?
Thank you so much. I hope that this program will make some sort of an effect on who should be listening and who should be making these decisions, because something needs to be done with a country like Trinidad. Come on, you guys can do better.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and take care. Please be safe.
You're welcome. Bye. All right.
Bye-bye. See, a whole country getting a bad name for the slow pace of the judiciary.
Yeah,
That's not right.
No, it's not. And I'm glad that we got a chance to speak with her, because again, as I said, it raises the question of foreign nationals who are being detained in Trinidad and Tobago prisons, including Venezuelans and people who have flouted the immigration laws.
Yeah.
Those matters are to be brought before court as well.
Now listen to this combination. An police officer died. This young man from St. Vincent.
Mm-hmm.
And listen to the amount of problems that face the system, or slow the pace of justice. If you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency, folks. And we have been speaking with just the dust. I won't say even the tip of the iceberg, the dust from the tip. To people who have relatives spending some extraordinary lengths of time in prison. And I have a list here for you before we take a break. Let me see if I can run down this list for you quickly. So we have a Sanjay Bim. He's in court. He's on remand for 8 years for attempted fraud of $1,000. He's waiting on a high court date 10 years now.
Why should I even have to go to high court?
Rakesh Dinoon, he's in there for murder 11/31/2010. 2010. Last court date 2011. Samuel Grimes, he's there for murder as well. Since 2007, last court date 2012. Daryl McDane Dyer, murder 2008. Last date 2011. Dwayne Samuel, he's in there for drugs, for a drug issue. Right, this we just heard from his sister since 2012. Miguel Isis, hope I pronounced that right. 2016, 2,000 US counterfeit. I think he's Venezuelan. Right. Yes, Venezuelan. He's there since 2016. Never been to court. Christopher Scott, 2012. Last date, 2014. Conspiracy to traffic from Jamaica. He's from Sanjay. Right, just so OG Tempo, 2002 for murder, never been to court. Garth Wiseman, 2003, murder. McDonald Bailey, 2003, murder. Kevin Nurse, 2000, murder. Dwayne Lynch, 2003, also for murder. Andrew Simpson, 2003. Kevin Patrick, 2002. Ricardo Gittins, 2006, age 16, still here, still up.
From age 16?
Yeah, still inside.
What?
Yep, from age 16. Folks, let's take that quick break. And when we return, we just have a brief chat with Mr. Wallace. Then we will speak with Miss Rosemary Belle Antoine. We'll be back. Hello.
Hey, how you going?
I'm good.
You know, long mind see you guys. Come on line by me this weekend now.
Oh, I'm on a line.
Yeah.
No, man.
You have oxygen in your house? You have a heart monitor in your house? You have a ventilator in your house? You have IV set up in your house?
This is a public service message from I on Dependency.
Agricola is back with loan promotions that will make you go wow! Wow! The computer and internet bundle CIB loan. Get a maximum of $15,000 with just a 0.75% interest rate. Call or come into our offices at Pro Queen Street, Arima, 667-7633. Pamela's Mall, Marabella, 219-7745. Scarborough, Tobago, 639-6468. Or Port of Spain, 627-3127. Agricola Credit Union, your very own, working for you.
Confused or worried about symptoms during the COVID-19 pandemic? If you only have a runny nose or are sneezing, you may have a cold or allergies. Have you lost your sense of taste or smell? Are you experiencing shortness of breath? These are common symptoms of COVID-19. Coughing, fatigue, and fever are all symptoms of both flu and COVID-19. If you have a temperature above 38 degrees Celsius or 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit, call your local healthcare provider or hotline for medical advice and ask whether you need a COVID-19 test. If you have any COVID-19 symptoms or are waiting for test results, stay home and isolate from other members of your household. Drink fluids and eat well. Always wear a mask if you're in the same room as others. If you test positive for COVID-19, follow your healthcare provider's advice. If at any time you experience a danger sign like difficulty breathing, chest pain, confusion, loss of speech or mobility, don't wait. Seek medical care immediately. Remember, you can prevent colds, flu, and COVID-19 by following a few basic precautions. Stay safe and protect each other. We're in this together. Know your risk, lower your risk.
La Sociedad de Crisis de Violación desea anunciar la línea gratuita y bilingüe para violencia de género, 866-7428. Este servicio es gratuito, confidencial y profesional. Está disponible entre 6 p.m. y 6 a.m. todos los días de la semana. Nuestros interlocutores entrenados pueden hablar contigo en español e inglés y pueden escucharte, guiarte o darte la información necesaria. Llámanos a 866-7428. Recuerda, mi voz es tu voz.
Hello, my name is Raquel, a trainee inmate at HMP Drake Hall, Staffordshire, England, and you're listening to I on Dependency with Garth and Natasha. Please, people, don't traffic drugs. Your money is all that nice, if not worth it. Hello, my name is Raquel, a trainee inmate at
They are always with us, in both small details and in big ones.
Thank you very much for staying with us. If you're just joining us, you're listening to Independency and live on Independency Facebook page and YouTube channel. We just have a very short time with you this evening because of the implementation of the new measures. We have to stop at
Get
7:30
home before curfew.
and try to get home before the curfew. Of course, things will be arranged so we can be back to normal next Sunday. All right. So have no fear. I'm seeing already where we will have to
Do a part
continue.
two.
Yeah, we will have to. Because we need to keep this on the front burner. For far too long, it's just touched on and we just move on. So we will quickly speak with Mr. Wallace, and then we will speak with Ms. Belle Antoine. Mr. Wallace, good evening, sir. Dr. Wallace, good evening to you.
Yes, pleasant good afternoon to you, sir.
All right, thank you very much for joining us. And quickly tell us what prompted you all to do this, to present this document.
Well, the reason for authoring the document is that we had recognized that there were some flaws in the system in Trinidad and Tobago, in the judicial system. For example, we found out, and we knew from conjecture, that you had approximately 2/3 of the prison population were persons who were remanded in custody and actually not convicted. In other words, these individuals who are, in the eyes of the law, supposed to be innocent until found guilty were actually being criminalized by the criminal justice system in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes, and you had some very startling statistics and some recommendations as well. Could you run us through some of the alternatives to incarceration? Because I'm sure you may have listened to the very painful stories of the relatives of persons who have been on remand for years, and it's how can we move towards implementing some of the recommendations that you outlined?
Well, first and foremost, I think we need to have the political will to implement some of these systems. And, I need to make it absolutely clear that the issue of prisoners and issues surrounding prisoners do not win politicians any votes, so that prisoners are placed more or less, inmates, convicted, remanded. They're placed on the back burners because they simply do not win votes. As unfortunate as it sounds, that's how it is.
No, Mr. Wallace, and you see, that is my bugbear right there.
Yeah.
That shouldn't matter because it's lives we're talking about. They're citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, and whether they win votes or not, as a matter of fact, there's a judiciary in place to make sure that justice is served in Trinidad and Tobago. Don't you think?
Yes, certainly, and I agree with you, Garth. I agree with everything that you've just said. We can move to issues, we can move to situations where, for example, we give people community service for some of the offenses that I'm seeing people being incarcerated for and having to spend years on remand. We can give people community service. We have a community service orders act in place in Trinidad and Tobago. We can do that, right?
Yes.
We can use other methods, right, to get people to more or less conform rather than the strict method of incarceration. But that, we are a very punitive society, right?
Yes.
Yes.
We want to punish and we want to put people behind bars. But putting people behind bars doesn't necessarily solve the problem. There are individuals who may be better served by going to rehab. If you observe someone is coming before the court on 4, 5 occasions for possession of possession of implements for using drugs, then one should be mindful to understand that this person has a problem and that the prison system is not the best place. And, I don't want to sound facetious, but prison officers are not necessarily the best trained to deal with, let's say, persons with mental health issues and persons with drug issues. They have
Correct. That's quite correct.
Mundo. Yep. Although, Mr. Wallace, I see we'll have to continue this next Sunday, please, God. So, and we will have you again. And
no, I just had one question before we allow you to go, because we have to wrap up at 7:30. But just very quickly, do you think it would be valuable to do some deeper research on some of the individual cases that are really glaring and ridiculous, for lack of a better word, to help people to understand what families and communities are going through?
Yeah, certainly. I am always willing and open to conducting this form of research, while it will not or it may not entail having 500 persons who may have that particular situation. If we can bring to the fore the cases of one or two individuals, as we call them in academia, we can do a case study with about 5 persons. If we can highlight these issues, then we may see some action being taken place. All right. So I'm quite open to that.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
We look forward to having a more robust conversation with you on this matter. So
yes, this is
stay
as I
tuned.
said, well done with the document to the two
Yes.
gentlemen, Mr. Buttonhill, Mr. Rosales, and your good self.
Yes.
That's what you call empirical data, and we will have to share that with the public next Sunday, please God.
All right. Thanks a lot, Garth and Natasha. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Take care. Bye-bye. Right. Let's go straight to Miss Rosemary Belle Antoine now, who has been waiting patiently to speak with us. Ma'am, good evening to you.
Good evening, and to all your listeners and you.
Thank you very much for taking our call. You heard the family members earlier on.
Well, I wasn't able to hear it clearly, but
tell us what your major concerns are with the number of persons that are placed on remand and the repercussions of that. What are the consequences of that?
Well, consequences are individually, as you're hearing some of the concerns there. If you want to talk from an individual perspective, of course, we're talking about an injustice, especially as we've had on several occasions already, persons who were eventually found to be innocent but had already spent several years in prison. So that's on the individual level. Also, in terms of individual level, the longer that you are in remand, waiting for your case to be tried, often it can prejudice your evidence and terms when your trial is finally set. Witnesses might forget what happened, things like those are individual questions, apart from the broad unconstitutional way ideas here. But for society to have this happening, I think there are. I'm not a social scientist from that point of view, but when you start thinking about recidivism, where people remain you're still in jail being treated in the same way as somebody who had been convicted, the kinds of anger, the kinds of when people come back out and there are no remedial measures for persons. Obviously, that doesn't go well for the society, because there are more and more people who are lost in the system, who are invisible in the system.
Yes.
So back with them.
No.
Yes.
Well, what do you
go ahead.
What do you think that says about our criminal justice system in Trinidad and Tobago, and how can we as citizens, try to fix it?
Well,
you sound very tired.
Yeah.
And that tiredness, I mean, like
yes.
you spoke about this so many times.
Well, in terms of once again, my objective, and this is why we are the hearing before the Inter-American Commission, where we have the case attempting to get this matter heard as a constitutional motion, so that once the court declares that this is unconstitutional, unjust, it could force some kind of change in the system, because the criminal justice, as in many other areas, criminal justice system is really not operating the way it should. It is quite skewed. So in terms of what can we do and what can ordinary person do, we people, our contribution is trying to get the laws changed. I haven't even mentioned the conditions in prison. That's another day.
Yes.
But just, we need to have
persons lobbying and advocating and understanding how unfair and unjust the system is. And unfortunately, on this issue, the average person in the public either doesn't care or worse, sometimes thinks. Let them all stay in jail and rot. Once you're arrested, the end of there.
That's right.
It means that, people almost think it's a good thing, to warehouse all these people in jail, and they don't understand, I guess, until it happens to them, because you could get arrested for anything, really.
Yeah.
You could be quite innocent, and if you or your family member, if that happens to you, before you even have had the opportunity
Yes.
to have your day in court, if it happens to yourself, then you may have some empathy. But for now, most people think just throw away the key kind of thing. So it's a very difficult issue for people to understand. I think maybe more and more people are beginning to think that way. But the more people advocate and speak out and are concerned, then it can force change in the system. Then we have people who have the power to do something. Alternatively, or together with that, is trying to have a judicial response, which is what I'm attempting to do with our court case. And the court declared that this is something that needs to happen. Incidentally, that's what happened in Jamaica. We, I don't know if you're aware, but we are by far have the worst situation in terms of remand. More remand persons. Only Haiti is ahead of us.
Wow.
But in Jamaica, a couple of years ago, what happened is that a young boy, about 15, was in jail for marijuana or ganja, as they say, ganja in Jamaica. And he ended up dead. And that caused a huge outcry because he was just there in prison on remand, hadn't really been convicted or anything. And that forced change in terms of legislative change. For many years, people didn't care. But when something like that happened, it caused some sort of change. So it was really the hue and outcry. So citizens can, in fact, force change if they show concern, if they speak up and speak out.
All right.
All right.
Ma'am,
Thank you very much.
we want to thank you very much. We plan to continue this discussion next Sunday, please, God, because we have to give it its full due. This is not something that we should continue to gloss over. And when I hear a family member could call from St. Vincent, or we could speak with someone from St. Vincent who has a brother across here for the last 8 years, and he has not been to court once. And as someone just sent a message on Facebook saying that the longer trial takes, the witness, how clear would the witness be?
The evidence.
The evidence, how cogent would the evidence be? You ask somebody to remember something 16 years ago.
Right.
But
we have someone who has been in remand for 21 years. There's at least one person like that. Can you believe? And many 15 years.
Yes.
Ma'am, we're going to speak with you again in coming days. So thank you very much for taking our call and get some rest.
Okay, and thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks very much.
That was Miss Rosemary Belle Antoine, and she just gave her take on what we just heard. Folks, if you're listening, we have to stop at 7:30, but we want to show you a video of some skill in our nation's prison. This is the maximum security prison. And remember, folks, Shortman, pull up that video, please, so that I want the population to see what obtains inside our prison. This is just a snippet of the skill. What you got about the house community of sorts. These men actually build houses in detail to scale, complete with parking garage and cars inside too.
And doghouse.
Take a look at this skill here, please. I beg you, look at what's going on in our prison. For our radio listeners, I'm sorry you can't see this.
You're seeing, there's a completely fenced compound with many structures on it. So you have your house, you have all the interiors and everything and this is done with what materials was it?
Well, it looked like cardboard.
Okay.
Or in some cases wood.
What kind of French windows, water tanks? I mean, a pool.
You have a wall with barbed wire.
French windows. a two-story house we're looking at here, and then your adjoining house with some tanks on top the roof, and I mean,
listen. Swimming pool. Look, we have a yard. This house has a swimming pool in the yard.
yes,
With complete with
the
water
barbed
tank.
wire around the outside perimeter, the wall.
Look at the kind of skill we have in
I
our
mean,
prisons, people. Look at this.
This person should be working in an architectural firm.
Thank you. I mean, I like to know what kind of tools that they use to do this with.
Correct.
Folks on radio, I'm sorry you can't see this, but we're talking about houses with steps, with gate, with fence, with
roof and everything. I mean, it looks. These are model houses. They scale like a little picket fence with a balcony up. Oh God!
The first time I saw this, I was totally amazed that we have this type of talent in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes, but I guess you see in the cardboard there now.
Yeah, but you know, if you take a shot from above, you will feel this is a community, in a housing community. Look, there's a generator there too. Listen, folks, I think we need to start cherishing our people more and try to get them out. Look at this. Look at this, folks. I mean, I cannot believe. Well, you're seeing the cardboard there now. So you know it's cardboard.
Yes.
So cardboard boxes were turned into a housing development.
Yes.
Look at this.
A multi-family compound. It looked like even close wire and a
Scrubbing board.
Jucking board. Barrels. Okay.
I mean, talk about detail. This is what you call detail.
Yeah,
right?
No, this is excellent. This is really.
Look at this.
This is really awesome.
And if you send a picture to the media with this and you ask people to guess where this was built, first of all, they will think these are real houses. They're not.
All kind of tile work and things.
Tile work and things too, you know, people.
Wow. I mean, wow.
Somebody said you all need to see all the beautiful soap ornaments they made. Well, send it to us and we'll show it next Sunday, please God. Look at this, a yard with
a barbecue pit, swings,
swing.
A basketball half court.
Help me, Jesus. Basketball too with a half court. Look at this.
Oh, God.
No, these folks here, we can't find them to show somebody else or some youngster the skill to. And
I wish they would have shown the individuals
who did this. This is remarkable. Well done, fellas. Whoever did this, look, they just opened the garage. Somebody just opened the garage to us with pizza. 4 cars.
4 cars.
Wow. Wow. Folks, we had to show this. We had to show you this. And awesome. We will show it again next Sunday, please God. This is really awesome. And remember, those of you who please send us a message to our Independency Facebook page inbox.
Yes.
So that we can get your concerns about your relative on remand and appeal to the judiciary and those. But look at this. I couldn't believe my eyes the first time I saw this. I called I think it was Mr. Pulchan then, but he didn't follow up on what he said he was going to do. But when I was really amazed. And I would like to see that soap art too as well, so that we can show the public. Now, folks, the longer somebody like this stay in prison, what do you think? Well, thank God this is on the convicted section.
What do you think? As you say, what will happen to this individual when he comes out? Do you think he'll get a job doing this?
Yeah. The longer to the judges and magistrates again, as I said, I always credit Magistrate Enrique. I don't know if he's alive or dead, but I always credit him with saving my life, because he and my mother got, the people who represented me got together and they decided to send me to prison. That is what saved my life. But I didn't stay long in there. So I was able to regain some footing. I'm still having stumbling blocks. But I fought, I got a presidential pardon. But think, to the members of the judiciary, I ask you to think. Think about how hard it would be for someone after spending 8 years Especially those, we interviewed people who spent 4 years in prison for crime and 5 years for crimes they never committed.
Mm-hmm. And received no compensation
And
from the
received no
state.
compensation when they left. When they just opened the gate and tell them, boy, look, we're sorry, we make a mistake and thank you very much. But understand, when this person go to look for a job again, and the prospective employer asks, so where were you for the last 4 years? Where did you work? I was on remand. But from the time they hear remand and prison, you know how hard it is for that individual? What it is you all can do to help cut down on recidivism. What it is you all can do to help Trinidad and Tobago look better. As you heard the lady from St. Vincent. What can you do for me as a drug addict coming in front of you, a magistrate? And my mother says, my son has a problem, he needs drug treatment, court help. What would you do? Send me to jail? And then the officers, some of them getting caught up, either threatened because of their lifestyle or whatever. Imagine cigarettes still not legal in prison, thereby making a man lose his career for cigarettes when it's legal outside of the prison. We have a lot of work to do, folks. And we need a drug treatment facility in the prison like yesterday so that we could save some people, or we might as well build a revolving door or get to understand drugs and substance abuse and its response to the brain. We have to go. But remember, those people you just heard.
Yes.
Natasha?
Yes.
Remember the mothers and the sisters you just heard.
Yes.
And we'll continue with this and we'll continue to give them a voice. The state has done its part by putting a judiciary in place. Now it's the judiciary, the DPP, and everybody else responsible for bringing justice to these folks. That's all we ask. That's all we ask. That they get their justice. Tasha?
Let justice be done. And thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, to everyone tuned in on I-95, on Facebook, on YouTube. Thank you so much. Please stay indoors and don't jackass the thing.
And remember, folks.
The Prime Minister said it, so I feel I'm well within my right to repeat his words.
That could be a closing comment because I have one more thing to say, folks. Remember, you send your message to Iron Dependency, and not I-95. Iron Dependency on Facebook.
Yeah.
All right. And as Natasha said, what you heard the Prime Minister, you heard the authorities.
Yeah.
Well, don't jackass the thing now, please. We beg all you.
Good night.
Take care. Good night.
This is reality radio at its best. I.5 FM.
I-95.5.